train. On the truth train, Gypsy Rose's lies are considered especially heinous. In the Gypverse, the dedicated creators who investigate Gypsy Rose Blanchard's case are members of the truth train. These are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to Baby Girl's World. Those who know what they're in for. Those who don't, stay tuned, bitch!
Every simple joy and unforgettable moments, and all in this and
The first thing question. I wish I could be with you right now. That would be a lot of fun. But I want you to know that I'm always thinking about you. You're always in my heart and mind.
I know that she wants to be my submissive / dominant wife. Both sides of the thing. What do you call it?
And take charge of anything, whether it's a relationship, a journey, or just anything in general. You are a leader. You're a master.
I'm hot as hell right now. I don't think we can open that freaking window back up. I just wanted nothing to be really
Goodness gracious. Trying to think of something. Well, if I was with you, I'd get in trouble because I've lied so much, and I've promised her that I wouldn't lie, but we'll get cut out of the door. Because, at first I thought you weren't. Like steak. But it was good. I don't think he cooked it wrong or anything. It's just I don't like steak. I'm weird. Oh, Parker's pooping again. He's pooping again. I'm trying to signal him. You got it? Okay.
Hello, how we doing today? Hello, how we doing today, bitch? Hi, guys. So, I know you guys all knew that Tia Rose was actually Baby Girl. Okay, I understand. What is going on, though, you guys? How are you doing? I just got done going live talking about Damon Lynn and her whole local fucking bus business. I can't do it anymore. I can't watch it. Not anymore. Just cannot do it. Anyways, we're gonna start with I hope everybody again has stayed safe and warm during last weekend's nasty weather. I know a lot of states were affected, a lot of people was affected. And I wish you guys nothing but good health and all the things. I was so worried about people in my audience on the East Coast and down South and everything. I really, really hope everyone's okay. Okay? Welcome back to Baby Girl's World, where, it's not just Gypsy Rose that has other personalities. You know what I'm saying? This is my attitude from the Bronx, New York style. Bitch. You know what I'm saying? I call myself, actually, it wouldn't be Tia Rose. Actually, my name's Fran. And I love the glasses. They're so cute. And then I got these new eyelashes. But I've been sick, and I really wanted to feel good for a little while. So I said, you know what? I'm put a little bit of makeup on and sit and chill at my computer. And then I thought, I feel good enough to do everything. So what the hell, right? So we got to do what we always do, bitch. It's member of the video, bitch. Ooh, it's Doob. Say she's a bitch, but I really love her. Yes, I do. Doobs. I love Doobs. It's such a cute name. I love it. And then we've got 5 featured subscribers. We've got Bo Morning, Tiago, Mona Simberman, Darla Floyd, and Brian Wade. Thank you so much for being subscribers. You guys are fairly new subscribers at that, so I'm really grateful for you being here. Thank you so much. And you know what? If you guys get a little tingle up your ass and you feel like you want to become a member, it's at $2.99. I got it. I don't know, okay, I want to change it. I figured out how to change it finally, but then I'm like, what if I change it and people already paid the $2.99 for this month? So what do? Do I change it around the 1st? I'll just change it. It's $1. I don't know. Okay. I keep worrying about that. People are going to freak out on me and I'm stressing out over it. I stress out over the silliest things and I worry about everything. I worry until my stomach hurts, until I'm ready to almost be violently ill. Okay. And I've been sick lately. So it's just my emotions get out of whack when I'm sick. You know what I mean? I get real emotional. And I miss my mom right now. I really want to go see her and I really want to do arts and crafts with her, but I don't want to get her sick. And it's been really bad. And I got to do content though. It's my job. You know what I'm saying? So I got to push through it. But I'm telling you, it's been rough. Whatever I caught is, I have 2 autoimmune diseases. So I have anyways, you guys don't, I'm sorry. But we did current events in the video that I posted before this one. And they're still kind of the same, I'll let you know. We'll do current events every time something changes, which is once a week, something big changes. You know what I mean? But as for right now, everything's still about the same. Just Bree's thing with the drugs. Again, I pray for her. I hope she gets the help she needs if she is addicted or whatever might be going on. Whatever's going on probably isn't good, right? So I just have her in my thoughts and prayers, whether I like her or not. I don't wish that kind of thing on anybody, So, as for the truth train, I was wondering what Gypsy was using in those cleaning bottles. Did you ever think about that in the cleaning bottles that she had all over the house with the blue fluid in them or whatever? Well, this TikTok I'm going to show you will prove that Gypsy had planned this even more intricately than you would think, right? She even sprinkled carpet fresh. There's a picture of it in the crime scene photos. Arm and Hammer at that stuff that I used to use. It smells pretty delicious. But she even sprinkled carpet fresh all over everything. And I was kind of wondering, I didn't know if that was just the fingerprint dust from them doing the fingerprints, but it looks really white. So then again, it could just also be the carpet fresh. She probably flung it all over trying to make sure that her mom's stench from, days of being unalived.
Gypsy's mad that the truth is coming out about her crime. Well, let's take a look inside of her home on the crime scene. Half of the things she used on the crime day was inside of her home, except for the knife she stole from Walmart. I have previously stated in one of my live videos that the cleaning solution was a hospital grade cleaner. Let's take a look. Here is the storage closet with said cleaner and spray bottles Gypsy used. This is the bottle of cleaner. This is a hospital grade cleaner. It is effective in the presence of organic soil, 5% blood serum. EPA registered. What did I tell you? All these little cleaner bottles are with that solution in it. Also wanted to point out another little interesting fact that my friend here, Chewy and Rose, pointed out is the R written on the projector. Also wanted to point out some more pictures of the blood trail coming from the beginning of the hallway. It's odd. It's weird. And the fact that there's no blood stains on a white pillow that was in the bed with Dee Dee is weird. Kind of like the crime didn't start in the bedroom. Also wanted to point out that here's the gloves that Gypsy randomly placed in the living room, kind of right next to the front door where she gave Nick the gloves. Also wanted to point out the substance that was thrown around the house could have possibly been baby powder or this carpet pet fresher. Sounds about right. And it's strategically placed right here on this chair that's leading to the hallway. Also wanted to point out that I was going over the photos again, and there's a lot of blood stains on the carpet, but they were cleaned up. They're like little dots and stuff. But look at that. What is that right there by the tile? Oh, it's a Ronald McDonald House volunteer family dinner program. I wonder who was volunteering. Could it have been Dee Dee's volunteer tag? Also, remember, she disposed some of the gloves in the trash can and along with the wipes. And I also think she flushed most of those wipes down the toilet as well. What happened that day in this little pink house, we'll never know, but we will always investigate and keep the truth coming out so the truth train can keep moving along. Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
She's probably trying to keep that at a minimum, because that smell is so horrid. I used to help with autopsies, and let me tell you, our trick was to put Vicks under our nose and wear a mask over it. And even then, some people would come in so badly smelling that there was just no masking it. You would have literal officers in there that were in there to observe the autopsy, and they would have a bucket next to them to throw up in because they couldn't handle it. It gets that bad. Especially like if a body has been, in decomp for a while. It all depends at what stage of death they are in to know, and you can almost start to tell once you've smelled it so many times, which is such a weird thing to say. But after you've smelled it so many times, you can start to tell how long someone's been gone just by how strong the odor is, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, only someone that planned every single fucking detail would also have that in their interest, as well as having the solution ready to go to make these bottles of cleaner to clean up the blood. More on the crime scene photos here, because I kind of been going over things little by little on FOIA documents. But Fancy shows us a photo of a binder that was there that you can't really read the writing on it when you're looking at the crime scene photos. But once she shows it to us and shows us that Christy just gave it to her one day, now, wouldn't you turn that over to evidence, being that that's a complete book of all the medications and everything that Dee Dee was doing? She was documenting it and everything like that. And it was all for the purpose of, for the longest time, not knowing what was going on with Gypsy Rose exactly. Doctor, but going from specialist to try to figure out what was actually going on. Come to find out, she had the microdeletion, found out in 2011. But up until then, they didn't know what was going on.
Wives Network. All right. Hey guys, it's Fancy, and you're watching the Good Wives Network. All right. And just right up here, right up there, that is a binder, correct, guys? Can you see it? It's got a really cute little snowy background on it. And I know you guys can't see the writing on the front, but what it says is Dee and Gypsy medication list. And so Greene County Sheriff's crime scene investigators, why was this not collected as part of your evidence, especially with a Munchausen by proxy narrative? I'd really like to know. You guys didn't think this was important? Okay, well, I think that you should have probably collected this, but it's really interesting. Let's dish a little. So, what you saw in the picture is this binder right here. This one. Dee and Gypsy medication list. And I have a question for you, Christy Blanchard, Christy, Mike, Christy. How did I come into possession of this? Because when you went to the house and you cleaned it out, and I think that you went to the house and were there, I think you were there by June 26th, if I remember correctly. Yes, June 26th. She had just gotten in from Waukesha. Is that when you took your U-Hauls and you climbed through the window rod? Because I haven't gotten to your interview yet, again, to evaluate exactly what date it was and all of that. So I'm still working through some of this stuff, guys. But I think it's really interesting because that was June 26th, okay? So, and I think HBO was filming already, weren't they? Yeah, I think HBO was filming already. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, I did notice that the arrest date isn't till 6/25/2015, and I'm assuming that that's because that's when she's booked and you guys arrested her in Greene County. But I'm sure you arrested her in Waukesha, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure. So I just want to make sure. I don't know if that is, just to make sure. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's probably what it happened, but I'm just going to make sure. But, so, So HBO's filming at this point, and I'm given this in your living room. Right, Christy? I'm given this. So, you had this in your possession. Why did you not turn it over to Mike Stanfield to aid in her defense? Because it is clearly pages and pages and pages. How did I get this? Why did you have it? I thought it was just like, found her remains, but it didn't make sense, but here it is. Why did they not think that this was important? And why was it over there with all the things that were being packed up that looked like clothes and things that somebody might have been taking out of the house? Yeah, that's what it looked like. This book has been with me for a very long time. And it tells a very, very important part of the story. Because the medical records, it tells one story. They have changing birth dates, changing diagnoses, changing symptoms. They do. And generally mother says or patient says, yeah, there's a lot of patient says. A lot of patient says, kind of like the patient says she can't walk when she knew she could, and she lied about it for 13 years? No, not, okay. But here's the thing. This is a very important record, and I already made a video explaining some of the information in here and why it's important, so you can go watch that video for a better breakdown of this. But the actual birth date given in this book to the pharmacy is correct, which means that there wasn't fraud going on in the pharmacy, because it was all correct, because the pharmacy record has a different way of checking and verifying things, and Dee Dee filled out this paperwork, and Dee Dee's who put her into the system, because when she was underage, Dee Dee put her into this pharmacy, and she had to prove how old she was. She had to show proof. She had to show proof to get any of the benefits she was getting from Medicaid. Guess what? There was one time where it got sent into Medicaid wrong, and they sent it back, and they sent her a bill. Okay? So if it matters, when it really matters, somewhere where it has to be verified to do anything with, they had the right date. They had the right date. Anywhere that had to do with a Medicaid approval, the approval was going through on her Medicaid number with her right birthday. Okay? But it changed a lot after she started turning 18. In 2009, the game changed. But I still want to know, Christy, why did you not give this over as evidence? Why is this sitting in my house? And you just handed it to me. Like, here. Nobody cares. You can see the love and care that Dee Dee put into this. And I've tried to be really good with it and take care of it. It's a preservation of hers. There's a lot of things that people say about Dee Dee. Some true, some not. But at the end of the day, this woman cared about her mentally and physically disabled daughter. And it seemed like the only thing she ever wanted was for Gypsy to be happy. Allegedly, in my opinion, for entertainment and educational purposes only. But something happened in June of 2015. And I'm not quite sure we've gotten to the bottom of that yet. But I found this today and I thought it was really interesting because I was looking through crime scene photos for something else and I saw it and I went, oh my God, it's the book. It's the book. And I thought maybe they found it like, in the back room, whatever. But no, it was laying right there in Dee Dee's room with all the other things packed up, ready to go out of the house. And we could have told you guys so much, but you just didn't care to look, did you? You didn't care to look. Anyway, we have a lot of information that we'll be putting out soon. So have a good one from the Good Wives. Serving up true crime, one dish at a time. Bye, guys. Mwah.
So there was tons of speculation. There was probably tons of different things being, done to try to figure out what was going on. And I feel like that's very smart of Dee Dee to have documented it. But again, Dee Dee worked in the medical field, so that's probably why. Or once did at some point. And then now also we have Nick Godejohn's search history and also some searches that are really speculative. Okay. Nick had a desktop computer.
I was not going to talk about Gypsy and Nick's searches such as these. However, I quickly realized there's a lot of misinformation going around. And as disgusting as they are important to the case. And quite literally, nobody can agree on who did these. So I want to show you who did these searches and do so using proof. Now, as you can see, this is my screen where I search the word motherless, and this is what it shows. Now let's search the word baby. When you go and you look up the word baby, you find these searches. And there are quite a few that you're just like, oh, okay. And then there's this one, which is what everybody is talking about. But whose computer did it come from? Well, let's see who the disgusting motherfucker was looking this up. So we're going to scroll, keep scrolling to the other side, and oh my gosh, okay, so now we have a date, and that was May 1st of 2015, and so you can see again the website, but you're going to come over here, and you're going to see where it says HPDC 70. Now, as you can see, this is what an HPDC 7800 looks like. So who had one? And y'all, that is inside Nick's room. Because that right there is that same one just laying on its side. Here's another look at that computer whenever the police detectives picked it up and set it up. I can agree that we all dislike Gypsy. I can also agree and testify that Gypsy is disgusting. But I think that we should all be able to agree Nick was into some weird and disgusting shit too. The facts are important. So yes, these searches came from Nick's computer. And I want to remind everybody, just because these searches were made on Nick's computer does not take away from the disgusting shit that Gypsy said or did. Because at the end of the day, she still said that he could grape their child.
Mind you, but Miss Gypsy did not have a desktop. So if you notice, there are some very dark-like searches, right? But they come from a desktop computer. Being that Gypsy didn't have one, that would have to have been Nick's search, right? And there were some of them that were even shown at Nicola John's trial. In some of the crime scene photos, too, there's evidence that Gypsy Rose and her mother were very, very much eating together. There was bowls in the sink that, 2 spoons, 2 bowls on top of each other. Now, is Dee Dee eating this stuff and eating a double portion? No, I'm sure she's not. So yes, you were eating together. She wasn't starving you. In fact, if we look at you now, you are also showing signs of not being able to thrive. You're getting very thin again. And this time you can't blame it on your mom, honey. She's not here to blame everything on now. So what's up? Mrs. I don't suffer from any of the symptoms. Yeah, you do.
Well, honey, somebody has done seen Gypsy Rose Alcida out in the wild, and baby, would you look how little she is? I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you. I didn't even think it was her at first, but then when you get up close, it's definitely Gypsy Rose Alcida with her shaved head. In case you don't remember, this is what Gypsy Rose Alcida looked like when she got out of prison. Healthy, like she'd been eating, like she was holding some weight on her, you know what I'm saying? This is her after being out 2 years, having a baby and some more shit, honey, and she is as little now as she was before she went in. See, back then, she'd tell us, oh, my mama wouldn't let me eat. She only gave me nutrition through a feeding tube. That's why I was so little. What is your excuse now, ma'am? Do you still have failure to thrive? Are you malnourished now? Is Ken not feeding you? Is it him this time? You know what I think it is? I think it is Gypsy Rose Alcida who puts certain restrictions on the things she eats. I think it is her who doesn't like to intake all the nutrition she needs to keep weight on her motherfucking butt. Gypsy Rose has always been obsessed with her damn figure, even in the damn emails and videos that you see her doing with Nick. She is obsessed with her body shape and the fact she has an hourglass figure. Not like a pear, but like an hourglass. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and guess she wasn't feeling like, her thickness was giving off that hourglass figure. So what'd she do? She stopped eating, just like she did with her damn mama. Just like how on those mother-freaking medical documents, it says Gypsy Rose had a feeding aversion. You don't know what a feeding aversion is? It's when a baby or a child consistently resists or refuses to eat even when hungry, often due to negative associations with past feeding experiences like pain, stress, or discomfort. We know that when Ken took Gypsy Rose's ass out to eat and tried to get her to try some damn octopus, Gypsy took her ass to the bathroom and cried. Also seen on Gypsy Rose's damn documentary when Ken flat out told her, well, you don't eat. Gypsy got upset. Oh, you can't say that. People are going to think I'm not feeding myself. So yeah, I think this whole damn time, it wasn't Dee Dee who was keeping Gypsy all skinny and poorly. It was Gypsy doing that shit. And I think Gypsy has some fear of gaining weight and being heavy like her mama. But that's just my opinion for entertainment purposes only, honey. But this is not alleged. That's Gypsy Rose right there, honey.
And there's also a photo, or even a couple actually, but there on the table, there is a Gypsy Rose's sippy cup, because we all know she drank out of the bottle or a sippy cup up until she went to prison. She had one with her after the crime happened. And then also we've got showing of like mosaic things that Dee Dee had on the windows, and Gypsy's bedroom had the flowers. Dee Dee's room had the curtains, and then I think it was a hallway or living room or something had the blinds or whatever, just to show what was actually covering the walls. They didn't have like a tint on them. They actually had like a covering on them. And then there's actually a picture here of the search warrant and all of the things that they were gathering within the search warrant, and all of what was taken in by authorities for evidence in this case. And then also, if you notice, there's blood splatter in some very strange places in these pictures. And then look on the fridge there. There's a nice flyer there. Your mom was such a horrible person that she was going to go and help the community clean up. Oh my God, she's such a bitch. Or was, I should say, since you took her life. I often wonder if there was like conflict between Gypsy and her mom. Well, there was an argument, but I wondered if there was any physical conflict. And did the crime happen in a different room? And if you look at this picture of the crime scene photos, the rug is pushed up to the stove, stuff's all over the floor as if somebody was like pushed into it. Were you being physical with your mother like this before you unalived her? Remember, this is all just in my opinion for educational and informational and entertainment purposes only. But what do you think, you guys? And it's your mom was probably always doing things for the community, Gypsy Rose, because we know she wasn't always home. being that you were able to make all these fucking stupid Voya videos of, whatever you want to call them for Nick. Because, I mean, if your mother was there, I know she wouldn't have been approving of some of the videos you were making, Miss Naked Rose.
Little story I would like to share with you about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Now, this story is not anything somebody sent to me. It's something that I found online, so I can't verify if it's real or not. But I find it really interesting, and just knowing Gypsy's behavior, it sounds real to me. So I'm going to read that now. Okay, before I read this, from what I can gather, this person used to be in prison with Gypsy Rose, and they are telling us of a time when Gypsy had came back from court. It says, she came back from court, I want to say in May or June of 2016. She came in our cell and was freaked out crying. She had told me there were videos of her and prosecution saw everything. She claimed it was of her doing something sexual with something like a cucumber on a bed next to her mom while mom was asleep, and that's why she had to plead guilty. I tried to talk her out of plea deal, telling her that she's victim and she'd get off at trial. Now guys, usually I wouldn't believe stuff like this just because you can't really prove it, but now that we have seen so many videos come out and we have literally seen Gypsy Rose Blanchard laying in her mother's bed, butt naked in her mother's bed, making videos, this correlates. This makes sense. This is not a new little thing that someone wrote. This is very old. I found this a long time ago. So it makes sense. I believe it. I don't know. What do y'all think? Because it sounds like something Gypsy Rose would do.
All right, Gypsy, get to sleep now, babe.
Night, Mum.
I love you, my precious. Good night. Go, bye.
Go, she fell for it again.
Oh my god, Gypsy again.
Bitch, I need to get sending some tapes to my mom.
Oh my god, you little hoe. Not you getting your nighttime sugar in. Oh my god, girl, bye.
Give me 1 second. Let me call you back.
Okay, babe, you go send them secret tapes to your man. I'm gonna go meet my DL.
Good. Let's stand this up over here. Hey, babe, I can't wait to see you.
I think I finally found a way to get rid of her, but I'm gonna need your help. Please.
I'll give you all of this. Hey, these are secret tapes though, so don't leak them, okay? This is only for me and you, okay? Oh, fuck. God, waited all damn day for that. Give my Sour Patch Kids, bitch. She thinks she can trick me. No, girl, you getting tricked. What up, you getting dicked by my man, and then we gone juke.
You know what I'm saying? And then next to it is a drawing that you did. Well, not a drawing, but a letter or something. You wrote, I love you day. And it was written like childlike or whatever. But my speculation here, now hear me out, is that I think that you were actually not only lying to your mother, telling her that you couldn't walk until 2011, but I also believe that you were making her believe that you were more cognitively delayed than you actually were.
We talked about how here it is. She's 23 years old, posing as without the teeth, 2 weeks before the murder, cosplaying as a disabled, kind of delayed, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, giving off that disabled, toothless thing. She played that, right? We've got the deputy sheriff that went out during the CPS report in 2009 saying that this is the deputy's note. It was further determined that Gypsy was 18 years of age and does suffer from some type of mental handicap. Where did he get that? Does suffer from some kind of mental handicap? Where did he get that notion? From her. They split them up. One deputy took Dee Dee, the other deputy took Gypsy, and they did their interviews of them. And it was his take, after listening to her, that she had some kind of a mental handicap. She was leaning into that shit. Okay. It wasn't just that she was so scared and we're not validating her abuse. It's not that, right? That would be right if she just sat there and just didn't say anything and, didn't pretend to be mentally handicapped. Then, okay, all right, well, maybe we could give her some points for, okay, maybe you were scared. I don't believe that she was. I believe Dee Dee was scared of her. Okay. But if you want me to go down that road of your argument, here's the problem with that argument. Why is she leaning into this shit? Why is she pretending to be mentally delayed? And she always says, I wasn't complicit in anything. Oh, yeah, you were. Okay, you were. And that's what you were probably scared of. That, yeah, you were going to go to jail for that shit. I don't know. I mean, there's, a whole discussion that can be had on all that. But yeah, this whole thing that she was only mentally whatever, please.
That crime. And in your case, there is evidence of the crime of your...
Is, a lot of people, maybe not the...
All right. I think that's it on that one.
There were many times that I probably could have ran away. I did attempt twice, failed attempts. There were times that I could have called the police, but was too afraid to. But at the end of the day, I do feel like even though I was an adult, I was working with a maturity level that was not up to date with my chronological age.
That's just utter bullshit. Never any indication from her social media activity. Yeah, was she weird sexually and weird? Yeah, but there's no indication she was acting as a level of a 13-year-old. She cosplayed a little girl, right? But as far as she was fully aware of what was going on and acting her age, acting weird, but not as a adolescent.
I really, really, truly do. Because you got all this childlike stuff throughout the entire house. You was playing with dolls. You were still drinking out of a bottle. You had Barbie dolls, even though you say you didn't, Biz. It's just stuff like that. And I wonder, how sociopathic do you have to be able to continue on with a lie like that and be able to play it out like you were for your mom? Being that you lived with her, you slept in the same bed as her, everything. But again, I think you liked the attention from it. And you are actually the one with the Munchausen issue. Okay? Is that you liked the attention from acting that way for your mom. So that's what you did. You also liked the attention from the boys. So that's why right after acting like a disabled child with your mother, you were then going home and talking nasty with these boys.
Gypsy Rose went on a podcast and I got sent this image from Reddit where Gypsy says, I was recently a guest on the Nobody Should Believe Me podcast with Andrea Dunlop. I don't know if I said that right. And to be honest, I don't care. Let's continue. Andrea is an author, journalist, and the founder of Munchausen Support, focused on education and awareness around medical child abuse. I'm grateful for the space to share my perspective. The episode is now available wherever you listen to podcasts. And this is a screenshot I went and got from the Nobody Will Believe Me podcast. And I thought it was ironic that I screenshot on the word narrative, because a narrative is a spoken or written account of connected events that tell a story. And well, here's a really popular line from Gypsy.
This is actually kind of the first time that I've been honest. Besides being honest, with my attorneys. Even that, I haven't been completely honest with them.
Now that was ironic because all the things that she was honest about there have been debunked. And not by word of mouth, by evidence straight from Greene County. But I mean, if you want to host somebody that giggles at the thought of being dishonest, it says a lot about you. But I feel like you already kind of know that, ma'am, because you first censored your comments and now they're turned off. But before censoring them, you posted this. Hi everyone, we will be heavily moderating the comment section on this post. There is no credible debate to be had about whether or not Gypsy suffered abuse. I mean, there is actually credible debates to be had. You just don't want to have them, because it would mean acknowledging that Gypsy lied, and then you would lose money. Am I wrong? Because I think we all remember this video, which I will be posting in its full length, where Gypsy says she is the one who lied about being able to walk. That's not MBP. That's malingering. But what do I know? You're the expert, right, Andrea? Anyways, let's continue with your statement. We will be deleting any post speculating about the fact or attempting to debunk her story. There's that word again, story. This narrative not only disrespects Gypsy, but sends a horrible message to other survivors about how they will be treated if they come forward about their abuse. No, Andrea, what disrespects actual survivors is letting Gypsy play in their face with her fake story and screaming about how she is a victim, when the victim in this case is dead. People love to use the term perfect victim while clapping for Gypsy and ignoring the perfect victim would be Dee Dee. She is dead. But let's continue. Any regular listeners to our show will understand that the absence of a conviction of mental health diagnosis in Dee Dee Blanchard and the presence of a genuine health condition in Gypsy do not negate the experience of abuse. Thanks for keeping this space respectful. And actually, yeah, it does negate her so-called experience, because her mom was getting her treated for symptoms she absolutely had. Aside from, her inability to walk, which, again, Gypsy hid. And I know that there are going to be people that are like, oh my God, but Gypsy got a plea deal because of abuse. But, Nick was offered a plea deal too. And his plea was going to plea down to the same charge that Gypsy got. And they didn't offer a plea deal because of the abuse. They offered it to save money. And I'm going to prove that with this document, which I believe Hello Starlight got. This document is from Gypsy Rose's preliminary hearing. And do you know how much that day in court cost? It cost the plaintiff or the state $457.50. And it cost the defendant or Gypsy's attorney $168.30. And that was for roughly only 7 hours in court with no specialist. And so they offered a plea deal to save money. And again, Nick did not take his plea offer. However, prosecuting him was going to be much easier because they had his admission of guilt. They did not have it for Gypsy. So this price that you're seeing would have been way, way, way higher had Gypsy went to court, because they would have needed data analysis. They would have needed crime scene experts to testify. They would have needed mental health professionals to testify. The list goes on. You get what I'm saying? And those people aren't cheap. And again, this was a day in court that no professionals were at. It was literally just Gypsy's attorney, the court or the state's attorney, and the judge. Gypsy was not offered a plea because of abuse. She was offered a plea because Missouri's cheap as hell. And honestly, every state is. But again, I go back to this video. This video and the fact that Gypsy has microdeletion 1Q21.1 proved that her mother was getting her treated for the symptoms Gypsy told her she was having. So Andrea, it's my opinion that you are the one slapping actual survivors in the face by continuing to let Gypsy's episode remain up.
It's crazy to me. It's wild. And it's crazy too that the cop would just automatically assume that some kind of con was going on because they saw you walking, when in actual reality, the Make-A-Wish program doesn't just give wishes to anybody because they say they have cancer. You had leukemia. You went into remission at 5. Okay? There's no denying that, especially when you had the radiation scars on your fucking head. while you were standing there by the bell, you know? And I wonder sometimes if Mike Stanfield really had you believing that your mother had Munchausen by proxy and that you really didn't have all of the things that she was, claiming that you had, because she was literally, for the longest time, trying to fucking figure it out. She was playing a guessing game with what you could have had until they found out you had the microdeletion in 2011. So what was she supposed to do? Just ignore all the symptoms that you had? You would have passed away. But, in your eyes, she was just keeping you sick. No, she was trying to get you well.
Is it possible that Gypsy Rose Blanchard's public defender attorney, Mike Stanfield, lied or withheld information from the medical records, ended up giving Gypsy Rose the sweetest plea deal that essentially taught her nothing? Because apparently Mike Stanfield was ready and willing to lie on behalf of Gypsy Rose Blanchard on camera in the documentary Mommy, Dead and Dearest. He lied about key information within the medical records in order to manipulate the public and anyone who watched that documentary into believing that Gypsy was medically abused, and they didn't correct it. Let's look at what he said in the documentary, and then let's go to the actual medical records to see how he lied.
Talking to the doctor here, and she's talking about how she has mental and developmental delays, needs assistance. Apparently, while holding her hands over Gypsy's ears so as not to offend history of mental retardation, 7-year-old level per mom. And so this was the one time where a doctor actually put in the record that Dee Dee's got her hands over Gypsy's ears. So Gypsy can't even hear what mom is telling the doctor. Then we get into the family history. The family history changed depending on what doctor she was at. You'll notice here, there's not a good history. She ends up going to the...
This is the actual medical record that the attorney is quoting from. So let's actually read what it says. Paraplegic, needs assistance for activities of daily living, has some difficulty with fine motor control, can write and feed self, but mother describes as clumsy while holding hand over Gypsy's ears as not to offend, period. Then history of mild mental retardation. So, if a pair of parentheses are before the period, it doesn't apply to the next sentence. So she covered Gypsy's ears so that Gypsy wouldn't be offended by her mom calling her clumsy. Not because Dee Dee was hiding information and Gypsy just had no idea what was going on. So this was at a time where the lawyer was asked to give mitigating information for Gypsy Rose's case. And in the same document that he's reading from, Gypsy's claims as to that she could never speak, it was always her mom. She just had to sit there and be quiet. If she spoke too much, her mom would get mad. Read this sentence right below me. It says, NAD, wheelchair bound, very pleasant and cooperative. Vocabulary seems more advanced than second grade, fluent and engaging, extremely polite. So if Gypsy was also not allowed to speak to the doctors or even hear what's going on, how would they know that she has a higher vocabulary than that of a second grader? So then the attorney goes on to basically say that this was another huge piece of information where the doctor writes in bold that the mother is not a good historian. Why would he make that point when he has access to the records and it says over and over and over all throughout nearly every single visit, Dee Dee told them that herself. She said, I was in an auto accident and I suffered head trauma, so I have memory loss. And you always hear people saying that criminal defense attorneys have no conscience and they're liars and they're bad people because of who they defend. And I don't necessarily believe that's true. There's a lot of attorneys that are really good people and actually use the truth. But this is an example of one of those bad attorneys that are liars. He just didn't think that this information would ever go public. So I want to know, why? Why would he be willing to lie for Gypsy Rose Blanchard? And What did he expect to gain from doing so? Because if you pay attention, like, you can see he's still very much a part of her career right now. And that's pretty rare for especially a public defender to stick around in the way that they stay with somebody for that long. Usually if somebody has a public defender, they get sentenced and they get a new one and a different one, blah, blah, blah. But he's stuck with her. That's odd. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village of liars to elevate someone like Gypsy Rose Blanchard to the platform that she has. Stanfield probably thought that he would just, you know, say whatever he needed to say and move on with it and people just wouldn't care. But, you know, now is a good time in history where we're calling people out and holding them accountable for the things that they do. And of course, I'm not offering anything about this as fact other than if somebody would lie on camera in a documentary as an attorney, why wouldn't they try to do something or withhold information from a DA or a judge? I'm sure if it was possible for Mike Stanfield to actually file a lawsuit on behalf of Gypsy Rose Blanchard against the doctors for medical malpractice, he would have already done so, but he is well aware that he cannot do it. Because there was no malpractice. There was no hundreds of surgeries. There was only surgeries that she needed. Multiple tests came back irregular. The muscle biopsy that she says is normal, not normal. Due to her chromosome disorder, which also had a test. So I can't help but wonder if they somehow destroyed records, because I think the doctors were also in some kind of like insurance fraud thing. But I don't know. I think a lot of them knew there was something wrong with Gypsy, but they just didn't know exactly what. And they knew that Gypsy was exaggerating a lot of her symptoms, because that's in the medical records as well. And I think Gypsy enjoyed the attention just like she does now. So it was probably her idea to shave her head whenever her mom had cancer. Because I'm sure Gypsy was well aware of the type of attention that kids with cancer get. And look what she got from it. A whole bunch of Disney trips and a whole bunch of stuff. But as an attorney, different if you choose to not say something because you know it would make your client look bad, but to say something that is deliberately untrue in order to manipulate people shows what kind of attorney that you are. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. And I'm not saying he did or did not withhold any evidence, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me since he appears to be willing to lie on camera for a documentary. Knowing that people believe documentaries a lot of the time as like true factual information. Your client really learned her lesson in prison, didn't she, huh? She's doing great. Super rehabilitated. So how much did you get from it, Mike Stanfield? Just curious. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a possibility? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget the follow button and share this video so we can maybe hear back from him. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
And then, like, the carpet being pushed up to the fridge, too, with, you know, all those things on the floor. Or, no, it was pushed up to the stove, something like that. And it looks just like somebody pushed your mom. Now, I don't believe for 1 second that your mother was unalived on that bed. There was not enough blood for her to have been unalived on that bed. I don't know how you did it. I want to know who was in the raincoat that Nick mentioned. I want to know who helped you. How did David fucking Blanchard get in the fucking kitchen window without knocking everything over? Why didn't he turn on any lights? Why was your thermostat at 70 degrees when the cops took pictures of the crime scene photos? Because they're definitely not going to take pictures after they've changed it themselves. They take pictures beforehand. So you didn't turn down the fucking temperature. So what the fuck was that all about? Just a lie you decided to tell or what? Sometimes. And then to think, why would your mother hang that up on the fridge when you're a grown-ass woman? Unless she really thought that you were really cognitively delayed. And is that why she had originally wanted to take guardianship up of you? Or did you fight her on that or something? Is that why she couldn't get it and the judge thought that you... I mean, because you literally would have had to be mentally incapacitated, basically, to have that deemed for Dee Dee, the guardianship. But she was thinking that you needed it. She was thinking that she was going to have to take care of you, yes, for the rest of her life. because she wasn't going to be here much longer, Gypsy. In the autopsy report, they literally said that she was in stage 3 kidney failure. But yet you, in that interview, were like, I don't know if she's going to live into her 70s. I'm going to have to live under her control the whole time. No, what you do is you cut ties, let mommy feel it for a little bit. She'll get over it and be fine. You can move on with your life. And that's that. But if you've got your mother believing that you literally can't take care of yourself, what do you think's going to happen? And then I totally believe the whole fantasy thing with you. You lived in these fantasies. That's why you loved all of the Disney movies, all of the princess stories where they're saved by their knight in shining armor and they're whisked away and their evil queen is slayed. Oh, and the damsel in distress.
Gypsy Rose tries her hand at acting. This scene she's reciting from the 50 Shades of Grey movie, she's trying her hardest to be the best Anastasia Steele. How do you think she did?
There's nothing really much to know about me. I hope to graduate. To be honest, the only thing I can think of is passing my final exams. And I'm doing this interview. Kate was supposed to do it. That is a generous offer, Mr. Gray, but I wouldn't fit in here. I mean, look at me. Thank you for your time, Mr. Gray. I believe that will be all. It's a pleasure. Anastasia Steele to see Mr. Gray. Hello, Mr. Gray. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am actually, my name is Anastasia Steele. I know you were supposed to be meeting up with Miss Kavanaugh, but she has taken ill, so I will be filling in for her. Would you mind if I would ask you a few questions for our school paper? Thank you. She's written down a few questions for me to ask you. So, as the main benefactor to our college, and head of Gray Enterprises, you are quite the successful man. To what do you owe your success? I'm sure a man like you controls many staff. I've seen in the lobby, you must have had about 12 different blondes. You must have a thing for blondes, Mr. Gray? So you're a control freak then? There's not really much to know about me. I'm just trying to get through my final exams. Then, hope to graduate and, move in an apartment of my own. Oh, it's a very good offer, sir, but I don't think I'd fit in here. Look at me. Well, I think that would be all. Thank you for your time, Mr. Gray. Christian. Well, it's a pleasure. Christian.
Prospers on, Gypsy Rose. Did you really think that that was something that was going to happen? I think you did, honestly. Because you were literally playing out characters from these movies, and your mom was playing it with you, as if she was playing with a little girl. You got toys all over your bedroom and shit. Why wasn't that shit put away? Your stuff was literally packed up, it looked like, to go. And the house was in chaotic disarray, I will say that. But that's not a normalcy for your mom, because we've seen pictures of when your mom was alive and the house was pristine. It looks to me like maybe mommy got sick, couldn't do much anymore, was looking to you to maybe pick up some of the slack, but you wasn't doing it. You wasn't having it. But anyways, then the movie, or it's actually not a movie, it's a television series called, what was it called? I didn't write it down. Rain or something like that. R-E-I-G-N. And the television series is basically about Mary, Queen of Scots, and it's about her navigating power, betrayal, and romance in the French court. And it says right in the description of the television series that there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of sexual activity, there's a lot of violence, and that's what's being put into your head all the time when you're watching this shit. And I believe that that's why you had it in your head that if you just got rid of the villain, you could run free and be saved. But your mom wasn't the villain, Gypsy Rose. She was just a loving mother. And you were the evil teenager with the Munchausen factitious disorder. Okay? And then also, we know that you had violent tendencies as it was, being that you chased your mom with a dagger and tried to shoot her with a BB gun that you thought was real. You know what I'm saying? And then they actually had really bloody scenes of beheadings in that show. And what did somebody try to do to your mother when she passed away? That you claimed it was nobody's business who tried to do it. I believe it was you. Or whoever was helping you, because somebody was helping you. That crime was committed somewhere else. That's why there's blood splatter where there shouldn't be. That's why there's all these different clues that don't add up. Because nothing was truly investigated because you got a plea deal. And it's pretty obvious, like I said, that Dee Dee was so sick and she couldn't do what you needed her to do any longer. There was no grifting. There was no con going on. There was stuff that you actually had because you had cancer, all that stuff. She was literally saving money. She was so honest that when Rod accidentally paid $100 over in child support, she called to make sure there wasn't some kind of mistake. If she was such a dishonest piece of shit that was stealing, claiming to be a Christian, don't you think she would have kept that $100 and not said a word? Why one spot of blood on the basement window? I just don't get it. That is so strange. That is so strange to me. And I really it's weird. And it's like, if somebody was running and they were swinging their arms or something like that with blood on, there would have been way more than one spot. It's just so weird that only one spot, unless you cleaned it and you missed a spot, but the spot's like dead center. Maybe you couldn't get it off. I don't know. And like you completely manufactured a different persona to your mother for years, I believe. Just like you did it with the I can't walk thing. I believe that you was acting like a child on purpose and then going around acting like a sick, disabled child with your mother and then coming home and acting that way on the computer with boys. What did you do? Like make sure your mom took a sleeping pill and then do this shit? I don't understand.
I'll use the one card that I have over you.
My mind is absolutely blown at the fact that that woman that you just saw is the same one that was in the wheelchair, pretending to be a little girl, eating her royal mashed potatoes at Disney. Like, think about that. She went from this poor, sick little girl by day and this seductive Ruby at night. Okay? This is the girl that manipulated Nick into offing her mother for 2 years. I mean, really, stop and think about that. Ruby is the same one that was playing dress up at Disney. Like, she turns it on and off. How sick and twisted does one person have to be to do that? I mean, I don't know. This is just my opinion. What do you guys think?
How you got away with it. But, and then also, if you look right there on the damn nightstand, is a picture of the fucking pink nail polish that she put on her mother's hands before she unalived her. That is just so weird. Knowing this whole story and the lore of it, you kind of feel like you know Dee Dee. You know what I'm saying? So to see that just like really put things into perspective. And who the hell made the tracks in the grass like that? For one, how rude. Okay. And for two, who did that? And then also, watch this video of T-Page with T with me, you guys, because honestly, I do not remember Nick saying that. But it makes a lot of sense. It really does. And he also, in the interrogation, brings up somebody helping them in a raincoat. Who is that? And was the raincoat to like, for a reason or whatever?
Not let anyone get trained.
Guys, I think I found something from an old interview that I was watching earlier of Nicholas Godejean on 2020 back in 2018. He said something that I've never even noticed before. And now that I've noticed it, I'm like, oh my God, let me share that with you and I'll be back.
Beyond manipulating me, like I said, she said, you know, this is the only way we can be together, because if my mom, as long as my mom's alive, she will not let anyone get between me and her. She made that very clear. That's the way that she's seen it as, because she knew from everything she must have experienced between, whether it was the times that she ran away with a guy that, well, tried to get her to kill her mom, and that's part of the reason why she realized that she couldn't do it.
Do y'all ever remember him saying that? Or did we just hear it and not think of putting two and two together? Because, like, I have no memory of that. But I was rewatching it tonight. When I heard that, I was like, WTF. Dan tried to get Gypsy to do you know what. But she couldn't do it because she's squeamish of blood. That's what she said. I just added that in. But either, number one, Gypsy made that up and told Nick that. Number two, it was true. What do y'all think? Because that's super, super crazy to me. I cannot believe that I've never caught that. Guys,
I don't know. But all of this is my opinion, all alleged speculation, all the jazz, you know. But I'm just wondering, I don't remember him saying that ever, you know. And is that why she wanted to go to Dan right away afterwards? Because Nick Godejean was just your fool guy? I don't know. And I'm just wondering, are you wearing child-size clothes again? Because all your clothes sizes, you are literally the size you are now. All of your clothes sizes were child sizes. So, I mean, that's pretty crazy to me. But, you know, I did have a sister-in-law. Her feet were so tiny she had to wear shoes from little girl section. But anyways, guys, my next video is going to be killers and fantasies and how they pertain to one another. So be watching for that one. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please become a member if you really enjoy the content. It's $2.99. You get to see your videos a day early, sometimes 2 days early if I'm feeling frisky. You know what I'm saying? And then also you get member shout outs. And I'm going to be putting up some new badges on there and things, new stickers. I got some ideas going, and that's that. But I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please like the video, comment, all the things. Mwah. Stay safe out there. It's going on. It's a lot of crazy business going on, okay? Stay safe, okay? Let me know you're okay in the comments. Oh, I love you. Bye.